Hi guys! Since so many of you have been having a lot of trouble downloading and running this simulation, we're gonna record a video for this sim going along with the lab sheet. I'm not gonna give you the answers to the lab, so if any of you were hoping for answers, no, but I am going to run the simulation as you would if you were looking through the lab as we go. So we have this sim, and I've clicked over to the Many Collisions tab as it prompts you to do on the lab sheet to begin with. So the first thing it wants you to do is to predict what's going to happen when 50 of these A's are added to the simulation, and then what happens when 50 of these little BC molecules are added to the simulation. So if you look down here, actually, you can see what the chemical reaction is actually going to look like in chemical equation form. So essentially you're adding 50 of this reactant and 50 of that reactant. So you would put your prediction in that question that asks you to predict. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, because that's the next thing it prompts you to do, is add 50 A's to our section and 50 BCs. So it then asks you, hey, was your prediction correct? So you're going to look at what's going on, and you're going to decide if your prediction was correct. So one thing I want you to note here on this side, I haven't done anything except add things. I haven't changed any settings. But since you're simulating what's going to happen if you add those reactions, if you look, products are actually forming over here. So you can monitor how many products are forming over here in these boxes as you go. You can also look at a chart representation, or a bar chart representation, a strip chart, a pie chart. Honestly, I kind of like the bar chart the best. It makes the most sense to me. You could choose whichever one you want, assuming you could run the simulation, but I'm going to leave it here just like this because that one's my favorite. Then the next thing that it wants you to do after asking you a couple of questions is to predict what will happen when the temperature is raised so that it's not above the activation energy max, but it is above the energy level of the product. So that requires you to look at this graph, and you want our energy raised to be right here because that's above energy of products, but not above this activation energy hump. So I'm going to go to this bar, I'm going to raise that until we reach that point, which is going to take a couple of seconds. There we go. So hopefully you predicted what was going on there, and after that you'll notice things are happening to the levels of reactants and the levels of products as this system is struggling to maintain equilibrium. Then it wants you to predict what's going on after you raise the temperature above the activation energy maximum, so I'm going to do that. Hey, the numbers are changing a little bit more over here, which is super great. You can record your observations on the lab sheet. After that, it doesn't want you to do anything else with the simulation itself. It asks you, what do you notice about these things? What happened? Did the temperature affect the equilibrium position? Did it affect the way you expected it to do? Did it affect the reaction rate? Did it affect anything else? And then it wants you to write the equilibrium expression for this reaction. Happily, that's given to you right here. That equation, this isn't the equilibrium expression itself, but you can use this to write your equilibrium expression just like we've been doing, KEQ equals, and then you're going to write your roadmap. I don't need you to calculate KEQ because you can't. We don't have exact concentrations, we don't have exact molar volumes or anything like that, so don't bother. But that's the entirety of the simulation that I wanted you guys to look at. So I'm going to post this, and you can view it as many times as you need to complete that worksheet. Have a good day. Stay safe. Oh, and I'm going to be posting Zoom meetings or Google Meets or whichever. Like I told a couple of you, we're trying to figure out some tech issues with being able to hear microphones and being able to have multiple people join a meeting at one time. So as soon as we figure that out, I will post that and the information for how to join that. Have a good day.